Hi guys, I'm going to quickly show you how to create your own custom models for SC2KRender. There's really only a few things you need to take note of, and one of the things is the dimensions. The tiles in SC2KRender are 0.5 by 0.5 meters, meaning a 1 by 1 is 0.5 by 0.5, and then a 2 by 2 would be a 1 by 1. So open up your favorite editor. I use Blender for my own usage, and just export it to OBJ. And you're going to need to use OBJ for the next tool we're about to use. So export to OBJ. And then I use this tool called meshconvert. It was written by this guy named Chuck Walburn, who does a lot of stuff at Microsoft. Pretty reputable guy. And I will leave a description or link to this GitHub page in the description. But when you come to this page, all you do is click on this green button here and it will download it for you. And what I do is I take this executable and I throw it where I have my models. So in here you can see all my model files, and I just throw meshconvert.exe in here. So open up command prompt or PowerShell, whatever your favorite tool is, and change the directory to where your models are and where your meshconvert is. So as you can see here, I kind of just did that already. CD models. And then I'm going to, it's kind of a long command, but I'll put this up on the screen and I'll leave it in the description below. But the command is meshconvert.exe, which is the name of what you just downloaded. The name of your OBJ file, -cmo, space, -no-dds, space, -flipz, space, -y. So if you can remember that as I say it so quickly, kudos to you, but like I said, I'll leave this in the description below. And if all works well, it'll say what the new file name is. It won't delete your OBJ, but it'll just simply create a new CMO file with the same name as the OBJ. So I named this 000_1x1, very descriptive. And if I look in here, scroll all the way up, 000_1x1 CMO. So you're going to take this file and copy it to wherever you have SC2KRender installed. There should be a models folder in there, and I'll bring up my version. My directory is going to be different than most people, since I'm the dev for this. This is kind of like local to me. Most people will probably have this on Steam, so you'd have to go to your Steam apps folder and find this models folder. And then you just take this and paste this in here. I already have it in here because I've done this before. Then you're ready to modify the config file for where this actually gets mapped to. So if you go back one into just assets, you'll see this asset map CFG, and you'll see a whole list of stuff in here. It should be every single object in the game is mapped here, along with a few others. So there's a couple ways to get the value that you need. I'll show you two ways. So the first way is loading up SC2KRender. And you can go to File, Show Console. That's going to be important. So Show Console, and then Options, Settings, and you're going to want to check Show Debug UI. So otherwise it won't work. We can load a map. I have kind of a test map that I like to use. Okay, cool. So with this debug UI, you'll see this crosshair, and if you click on a tile, it'll give you information about it. So click, click, etc. So let's click on, we can do, I'm doing this really off the cuff. I don't actually know what will happen if I do this, but we'll try. I'm going to choose, as you can see, there's a lot of Z clipping when you go under the map. But above it, it's not too bad. So I'm going to choose this one right here, and see how it's highlighted. Now if I go into, press escape so we get different focus, go into here. What you're looking for is XBLD. So, where am I looking? Okay, C7. So you got to take note of C7. So the config file is in decimal, but this is in hex. So if we type in C7, that should be 199. So what we would look for is 199 in here. 99. Oh, okay, cool. And you can see how it's hydroelectric power. So that actually matches what we see here. So I'm going to change this to 000 underscore 1x1 and then save it. And now I'm going to exit, restart SC2KRender, load map. As you can see, I changed what the object was pretty easily. Some things to take note of. So let's go back into the settings. Oop, lost my mouse there. Okay. So you'll see a lot of objects. You can't actually click on the tile. They're kind of like this. This is due to something called the visibility map. I just have to write a better tool, debug tool, to actually let you click on this, but you can't click on them, meaning you can't get their information. So what you could also do is go to this this website here. It's been around since, oh geez, I don't know when. It says 1995. So this guy, I forgot his name, but it's listed on the site. He did a lot of reversing a while ago, and a lot of information about this file format comes from this document. It's not entirely accurate, some of the stuff in here, but what is accurate is the XBLD data. So you just type in XBLD, and this is all the information you need. So if you can't click on something, or if you're still having problems using my debug tool because it's not fully fleshed out, you can just come down here and look at the hex value, and then go to your calculator, convert your hex to des, and then plug it in and change it. So going back to the visibility map, the visibility map is kind of good to know about because certain objects benefit from having the tile visible or invisible. So for instance, this Arco here is the forest Arco, and as you can see, it sits below the terrain, and we kind of trick, well, it's not a trick, but we kind of trick it by not rendering these tiles. So by default, the tiles would actually render over this. So if we go to the visibility map here, I happen to know what it is already. It's 252 in decimal. So if I get rid of this, let me restart SC2KRender. Load, be chugging along, 6700K. Okay, as you can see, that's what it'll do by default. It'll just kind of like fill it in because that's what the terrain actually is. But we just kind of, we kind of played around with it. It would be kind of useful to do for certain things like these buildings here. These were my buildings that I made. It wasn't the ones done by Thomas, so they're you can see they're a little bit more primitive. They're not as good as his. Yeah, my pools actually sit above ground. So if you wanted to make a better model than mine, you could probably put these as below ground pools. Certain things that wouldn't work well is like these train tracks here. These train tracks, you don't want to disable it because then you just like look through the void. You would just see under the map. Oh yeah, let me go back to here. So this 2, what this 2 stands for, let me actually bring up the code. Yeah, so the 2 stands for model visible. So what that means is when the model is visible, the tiles don't render. But when the model is invisible, the tiles do render. And that's particularly useful for draw distance. So let me see if I can do that real quickly for you. Let me see if I can kind of, yeah, you see how like when those far objects aren't rendered, the tile does render. It looks, so it's not like there's holes in the ground when you're kind of far away. So, but when we get closer, you can see there's holes in the ground. But when we get further away, oh, maybe I can't see it from here because of the fog, but just trust me on it. If we change that value, it would look like a bunch of holes in the ground from kind of far away. So the other values here is, if you always want it, it's 0. never is 1. And then if you want that kind of nice toggle feature, which I would highly recommend, I would set it to 2. And as you can see, most objects here are set to 2. And that's pretty much it. I'm kind of interested to see what you guys come up with, so post in the comments below. Thanks.